Hi, hello, welcome. Good to see you. Been a little bit. I've been busy. Anyways, so FNaF movie trailer 2 just released a few days ago as of the time of recording this. So I thought it might be time for me to make a FNaF movie 2 predictions and speculations video. I don't really have as many predictions this time around, honestly, so that's why I'm also saying speculations, because I have things that I'm wondering and considering, but I wouldn't call them predictions by any means. So that's what this video is. Let's go. Okay, so I did rewatch the 2 trailers that released. So I feel like this movie, the sequel, is in a bit of a strange place, right? Because it's an actual proper sequel to the first movie, as opposed to the FNaF 2 game, which was a prequel to the first Five Nights at Freddy's, as everyone knows. So they are going in a bit of a different direction, which does make sense because the main characters are Mike and Vanessa and Abby, and obviously their involvement started in that first movie. Wouldn't make sense if we went back in the past and it's like, oh, well, whoops, I guess they did know about it, but somehow they didn't seem to know about it in the first movie. However, I think they're still going to do not like prequel type stuff, but they're going to throw in some things, particularly flashbacks, as we've seen in a few of the trailers. I say that as if there have been like 5,000 trailers. There's been 2, but we've been shown a scene with what we presume is Charlie holding someone and screaming while in the original Freddy's location. It's the original within the movie franchise, which makes it confusing because that's obviously not really the case in the games, but we're not here to talk about those discrepancies. So I think, yeah, we are going to get a lot of flashbacks with Charlie and also Vanessa. We do see at the beginning of the second trailer a young Vanessa running from William, her dad. So whether or not this is a dream, I'm not too sure. It seems like it could potentially be a dream as well, but I do think we're going to get some flashbacks with Vanessa, and maybe we'll even see some with Vanessa interacting with Charlie, because they could have been friends. We don't really know the situation. I think that would be interesting to see, because Charlie was, of course, the daughter of Henry. So Skeet Ulrich is here as Henry, and like I said, Henry and William were business partners. They were friends at one point. It makes sense that their children would have grown up alongside each other and been friends just by proxy of being around each other. So I think we are going to see this connection, and while I don't think Vanessa was necessarily involved in the murder of like the 5 missing children or Charlie, I think it could be interesting to explore that, like maybe like because she did know about the murders at some point later in her life. I presume after she was a child, maybe like in her teenage years or sometime in her adulthood, because she knows about this, like all of what her father does in the first movie, of course, and she helps her dad out of like, fear and shit. But I wonder what Vanessa's involvement was with Charlie's murder, because it does seem like there is some involvement there, due to the fact that in the first trailer we see the puppet near Vanessa, right behind Vanessa at one point. The puppet's kind of like above Vanessa, like on the roof or whatever, while Vanessa looks into the puppet's box. There's a lot of like stuff between Puppet and Vanessa in the trailers, at least. So I feel like there has to be some sort of involvement from Vanessa. Whether or not it was intentional, I'm not sure. Either way, as we see in the trailer, Charlie comes out holding the body of some other kid, screaming out at everyone else, and at some point she falls to her knees, and it seems like the other child is okay, that they're standing up. They're no longer in Charlie's arms at the very least. So I don't think it's like that the child was dead, but maybe it's like they were almost stuffed into a suit. Maybe they were trapped in there in some sort of suit, or maybe they were just like tied up in the back. And when Charlie tried to warn everyone about like, hey, like this just happened, it probably seemed as if like no one believed her, which would leave her isolated and would leave time for William to murder her, I guess. So I do want to mention that there has been some speculation from the community that this child is no random child, and it's not one of the missing children either. But people think that this child specifically is Sammy, which would be Sammy from the Silver Eyes trilogy of books. Now, I have read the first 2 books. I don't think I finished the 3rd one. I don't actually even think I started reading the 3rd one, and it's been a very long time since I read those first 2 books, but I do understand the general plot of the Silver Eyes trilogy, and I remember like some of the details just through like being in the FNaF fandom and like osmosis, that sort of thing, I guess. So to kind of recap, in the Silver Eyes trilogy, spoilers, I guess, it said that Charlie had a twin named Sammy, and Charlie believed that William kidnapped her twin brother Sammy and killed him. Now, it's revealed in the 3rd book, The Fourth Closet, that, or maybe I think it might have actually been the Twisted Ones at the end or something. It was revealed that William didn't kidnap Sammy. William kidnapped and murdered Charlie, which, okay, so yes, William murdered and kidnapped Charlie. You might be wondering, how does that happen? And because Charlie is the main protagonist of the book, she's been around this whole time. Clearly, she's alive. But the thing is, the main character Charlie that we've been following for all 3 of these books is not a human. She is instead a robot that Henry built to be Charlie, basically. Like, there were 4 different Charlies that he built. One was like toddler Charlie, the second was regular child Charlie maybe, and then the 3rd was teen Charlie, which is the Charlie that we've been following for these 3 books. And then the 4th Charlie would be adult Charlie, fully grown adult Charlie. And I'm not gonna get into the 4th Charlie, that's a whole different can of worms, but that's kind of like the long and short of it for the most part. So I always thought that Sammy was like a made-up figment. It was something that Henry told book robot Charlie, because I guess like he was giving her like her original Charlie's memories, and just to explain in her own brain like what had happened, he made her believe that she had a twin Sammy. So I always just thought like it was something that like Henry just told her she had a twin brother, but he didn't actually exist. I don't know if that's actually the case. No one really knows if Sammy Emily actually existed or not. I just thought he didn't exist. Anyways, so because Sammy potentially existed in the books, people think that this child might be Sammy Emily, who now does actually exist. Like 100% exists, and not like it's an up in the air thing of like maybe he does, maybe he doesn't. No, he actually does this time, for realsies. I don't know why I said for realsies. Jesus, okay. Anyways, so if that is the case, and this child is Sammy, that would be interesting just because we like know all about Sammy. Like his existence is even in the air, like so we know literally like nothing about him. There's also this guy from at some point in one of the trailers, which some people thought it could be Michael Afton, because we have a Mike Schmidt, but we don't have Mike Afton. There's potential for that, but a lot of people, upon the release of the new trailer, think that this guy is the grown-up version of Sammy Emily. For the record, I'm not entirely sure how I feel about this theory. If I'm being completely honest, I don't think this guy is going to be very relevant to the overall movie. I could be entirely wrong, and I think I probably am, but I don't know. I just don't think he's going to be that relevant, because I think back to the Vandals from the first movie, they weren't really relevant. Neither was Max, if I'm being honest. So I just don't think he's going to be super important. So moving on from that, I want to bring up more stuff with Vanessa and her past / her dreams, whatever it is. In the second trailer, we see her again as a child running from William. Some people have pointed out that in the background of like this hall that she's running through, there are pictures, and some of the pictures kind of depict what seems to be two children together. One's kind of taller, one's shorter. And some people speculate that this could be Vanessa's sibling. Whether it's Mike, whether it's like crying child, who's to say? I can't really tell one way or another. It seems like potentially an older or younger sibling and not a twin, just because, like, again, there's that height difference between these two children. So I don't think it would really be a twin. Or my thought is that this might be just pictures of Vanessa and Charlie, depicting just like how close they were at one point, that they were maybe each other's best friend until she was murdered and everything. So the reason I think this is just because, again, like, we don't hear anything of a sibling from Vanessa in the first movie. It doesn't seem like that was the case. And when we see a picture of younger Vanessa, it's only Vanessa and William. There's no like other sibling present, and I feel like that just would be the case. Like, why would you just like take a picture without one of your like children in it, you know? Although, again, of course, I could be wrong. I just don't really think it's likely she has a sibling. I think these are pictures of Charlie and Emily. What? That's her name. Charlie and Emily. Jesus Christ. I think these are pictures of Charlie and Vanessa. That was genuine, by the way. Oh my god, I can't believe I flubbed that hard. Anyways, yeah, I think these are pictures of Charlie and Vanessa when they were kids, just to showcase how close they were and to drive any potential guilt that Vanessa feels for whatever hand she might have had in Charlie's death further, you know? I feel like this movie, you can kind of see like Vanessa looks more worn down. She looks tired, like she's not sleeping well, and it seems like she's having like almost constant nightmares, much like Mike in the first movie. So I feel like it might be her subconscious being like, remember, like, you and Charlie, you were best friends, and you played some part in her disappearance and her murder. And it's just nothing but her guilty conscience, like, eating away at her in these dreams. So I feel like it might have been unintentional, any part she played. But, you know, she doesn't see it that way, of course. She just feels something but guilt for the part that she might have played. So I think that might be what's happening there, honestly. So moving on, I want to talk quickly about Abby and the toy animatronics. So if you remember, like, last year, I think it was, for the 10-year anniversary, we got a few different scripts from Scott for the FNaF movie 2, and one of them was real and the other ones weren't. And it seems like now we know which one is real, and it's the one with Toy Chica talking to Abby. Now, I haven't looked at this script in a little bit. I'm gonna just put it up on the screen. But the reason this seems to be the case is because the toy animatronics have voices. They have voice acting, which I guess we need to talk about that, because I just realized we haven't done that. So first we have Toy Freddy, voiced by everyone's favorite Kellen Goff. Yay! I'm actually so excited about that. I love Kellen. I mean, everyone loves Kellen. He's just like, he's iconic to this franchise. I'm so excited to hear him have a proper role, like proper speaking role in the movies. That's so cool, because like Kellen's been here for so long, since like Sister Location. That was, I think, what, 2016? So that is super cool. Like, that someone that's been with the franchise for that long is now actually like having a pretty big role to play in the movies. That's so awesome. And then we get to Toy Bonnie, voiced by none other than Matthew Patrick himself. God, this guy, I can't escape him. He's everywhere right now. After his retirement, he was just like, I'm going crazy. I'm out here. I'm gonna do some and you know what? Good for him. Anyways, so he's Toy Bonnie, which is like, one, it's just kind of funny from a fandom perspective, but I am actually excited about it. I think he'll do a great job. I've seen so many people put his voice, like, animate Toy Bonnie to his clips of MatPat, like, of course, there's when MatPat said, "Don't you tell me how many calories I need, bitch," and people have, of course, put Toy Bonnie over that. And then we have maybe the craziest announcement by far, I think, which is Toy Chica being played by Megan Fox. Okay, sure. What do you mean? No offense to Megan Fox. I haven't seen much of what she's in. I know a lot of people love Jennifer's Body. Never seen it. I've only seen like Transformers that she's in. But, you know, I'm open to her interpretation of Toy Chica. I don't know, it's just a funny sentence. Megan Fox is Toy Chica. It's like, what? How did we get here? You know? You know what I mean? Anyways, yes, the toy animatronics have voices, and Toy Chica does speak to Abby in that script page. And it seems like the toys are luring Abby to this location, which presumably this location is out of town or like in a different town or something. I don't know if Mike and Abby and Vanessa have moved since the first movie. I can't really tell. I think maybe they are in at least a different house. I don't know if it's a different city though. I mean, I don't think it would make sense for this other abandoned Freddy's to be in the same town as the last movie. I think it's maybe a different town, and maybe that's why they don't know where she is, because like it's completely out of town. And by they I mean Mike and Vanessa. But you know, they don't seem to know where Abby went to. It's like we need help finding her. So I think that script seems to be, you know, like it seems like to imply that the toys are luring Abby there, and with a fast talker as well. It seems like that's also the case. So they're luring and tricking her into coming there to like set them free from the confines of the restaurant, because obviously they roam around throughout this town. Toy Freddy's at Faz Fest or whatever and Toy Bonnie's in a house. Mangle's about to kill Vanessa in the car, you know, and Toy Chica is in school. As a reference to everyone's favorite part of FNaF, Toy Chica, the high school years from FNaF Ultimate Custom Night. I think John FNaF made that joke, but whatever. I thought it like, it's funny. There's no way that's not intentional, right?
It was so amazing. And I met such...
That being said, there's other stuff I want to talk about very quickly. This is more speculation territory / questioning territory rather than prediction. But I think I have seen people say that Jeremiah from the first movie is returning in this movie. And I'm excited for that. Although I am very curious what they're going to do with his character. Because as everyone knows, FNaF 2, the game, takes place in 1987. And what famous event do we know from the games takes place in 1987? Say the line, Mark!
Was that the bite of 87?
Yeah, the bite of 87. It's the bite of 87. And you know, what character do people believe the bite happened to? Jeremy Fitzgerald. Most people believe that Jeremy was the one that got himself chopped. And Jeremy is very obviously similar of a name to Jeremiah. So, obviously, the movies aren't taking place in the 80s or in 87 specifically. So I feel like one of two things are happening, right? I feel either we're going to see a bite happen in the present day of 2005 or whatever it is that this movie is taking place in, and we'll see Jeremiah get chopped. Probably not like super up close. Maybe I'll do something similar to how Max got bit in half from the first movie, because they're not going to show that like on screen. This movie's not R-rated. So I think that's one possibility. Or the other possibility is that we're going to see a flashback to the bite of 87. Because I feel like it's just kind of like, it feels like they have to, right? It feels like a wasted opportunity of sorts if they don't, at the very least, address the whole bite thing. Now, they could just retcon it entirely and just be like, there was no bite of 87, there's not going to be a bite of 05 or whatever year it is. They could just be like, if they end up doing like a FNaF 4 type deal at some point, whether it's like a FNaF 4 dedicated movie, or if they just like cover like FNaF 4 elements in like the third movie or another movie or something. I feel like they could potentially just be like that would be when they show the bite of 83, and then they just act like as if that's the only bite that's ever happened. But I feel like just with how huge that meme is, the, you know, was that the bite of 87? With how huge that meme is, I feel like it's a wasted opportunity for them to not address it or to have that meme in the movie. These movies are being made mainly for the fans, for us. And of course, like, that is such a like hype, iconic moment of the franchise, that for them to not include it as a meme in the movie, there's no way that they don't do it, right? Especially with just like how much fan service there was in the last movie. So I just feel like there's like almost no way that they don't do that meme. Like they have to, right? There's like I have to. And I think it's gonna be one of those two ways. Either Jeremiah gets bit in present day 2005, or we see a flashback to someone getting bit in the year 87. So I have a prediction, speculation type thing. I don't know what to call it, okay? Whatever. So this kind of ties back into the books thing, right? So the first FNaF movie, it was very similar to the first book of the Silver Eyes trilogy, that being the Silver Eyes. It was like a lot more similar than I think people realized. And it has a lot of the same notes in it, particularly with the missing children believing that William is one of them, that he's their friend, and that's why they follow him and do his bidding. He has like some sort of power over them, and that's a theme that comes from the first book. And the first movie even ends like in the same way that the first book does, kind of with William getting spring locked, and then the missing children locking him in the back of the pizzeria. Well, he just, writhes in agony. So with the first movie being similar in a lot of ways to the first book, I think there is potential for the second movie to be like the second book. It's similar in what ways? I don't know. Again, it's been a long time since I've read the Twisted Ones. But when I say it's going to be like the Twisted Ones, what I mean by that is similar in like the ending. I think it's going to take some things from the ending. Potentially. And we're not going to see anything about illusion discs and animatronics digging themselves out of the ground and then going into the ground again at night or during the day, whatever. At the end of the Twisted Ones, Charlie is kidnapped, and her friend John, at the very least, watches her be kidnapped. And after they escape Freddy's or whatever happens, they kind of just are in a diner or a restaurant, I believe, and they're like, man, it sucks that Charlie's gone, except that in comes Charlie herself into the diner as if nothing happened. And John's like, what the is going on? What, hello? But he almost instantly is like, that's not Charlie. So I think there is potential for this movie to kind of end on a cliffhanger, because that book ended on a cliffhanger. And if we are going to have 3 FNaF movies, if it's going to be a trilogy, then traditionally, the second movie of trilogies kind of end on a cliffhanger. So I think there is potential for this to end on a cliffhanger, and the cliffhanger in particular, I think, would be maybe potentially Abby getting kidnapped and Mike and Vanessa not being able to find her. Now, do I think that a robot duplicate Abby is gonna come into the room after she's kidnapped? No. I don't think the movies are gonna do that, but I do think she might potentially get kidnapped and they won't rescue her until the third movie. I think the second movie they are going to initially rescue her, and then something is gonna happen and she'll be taken away. Or potentially they could kidnap Vanessa. I don't think it's likely that they're going to kidnap Mike. He's kind of the main character of the movies, even though this movie does seem more focused on Vanessa, which is great. But he is kind of I think the central character, more or less. So maybe the toy animatronics, or maybe Puppet or whoever, maybe they're going to kidnap Vanessa at the end of the movie, and it's going to end there before Mike or Abby could rescue her. Now, obviously, that's like a complete shot in the dark. I have no evidence to go based on other than the fact that the first movie was very similar to the first book, and like the way that trilogies and particularly the second movie in trilogies tend to go. I think there's potential there for that to happen. But that's kind of a long shot. If that happens, I'm gonna be throwing myself a fucking party. But I don't really like fully expect it to happen. That's just kind of me throwing stuff out there because of just like, I feel like I just have this feeling, you know, just because of those facts I mentioned before, like a minute ago. But other than all that, I think that's kind of all I have to say for my predictions and speculations and whatever for this movie. I feel like just because we have the first movie now, I kind of, not that I know exactly what to expect, but I feel like I might understand the flow of this one. Like the first movie, like we had almost no idea that like what it was going to be just because it was the first one, and we've been waiting so long for a FNaF movie that it was like we just really had no idea what to expect at all. So, but with this one, since we have the first one, we kind of like have a better idea of what to expect, I believe. But I'm hoping for some surprises, hoping for some fun, exciting stuff. Either way, I'm gonna be there day one, baby. I already like bought the one of the popcorn buckets, which by the way, there's like 1 billion popcorn buckets and like drink cups. Why did I say drink cups? Oh god, I got something in my nose. Okay. Anyways, so there's a lot of like, it's a like crap load of shit that's being pumped out for this second movie. I'm like going crazy. I can't afford all of it. That popcorn bucket was expensive already. But either way, I can't wait. Hello, you made it to the end of the video. Congrats, you made it. So, I think it's been about 3 months since my last video. I was hoping to not have that big of a gap, but I've been busy, so I haven't had as much time to do this stuff. That being said, I have been working on a Deltarune Chapter 3 video, and then there'll be another one for Deltarune Chapter 4 at some point. So, those should be out at some point. I'm also gonna do another movie review, this time for FNaF Movie 2, when that comes out in a couple weeks, or like 2 weeks or whatever it is. In case you missed it, 2 years ago I reviewed FNaF Movie 1 with my cousin, and that was a lot of fun. You should go watch it if you haven't. So all that stuff out of the way, I just finished editing the whole rest of this video, and I originally thought that this video was going to be 15 minutes long. It's nearly double that length. Who let me yap? Anyways, I just thought that was insane and funny. Anyways, I don't want to ramble on for too long, so I'm just gonna say, like the video if you liked it. I would appreciate it. And also subscribe, maybe. I would also appreciate that. It'd be pretty cool. Have you considered that? Yeah, anyways, that's it. Thanks for watching. Okay, bye.